Accenture, and I'm going to let you introduce yourself and tell us about what you do, because you started a great new program about a year ago that's bringing social entrepreneurs into Accenture. So you want to tell us more about it?
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you the story. And thank you, Tristan. I'm glad I'm not the only one with slides. So thank you for that. I go very fast, and I like opening with this quote from Reid Hoffman. Reid Hoffman is the creator of LinkedIn. He created LinkedIn in 2003. And he said, basically, you need to go and seek outside skills to bring in your company. And they say, you need to be adaptive. And I think companies in the past decade have been pretty adaptive. They started open innovation programs. They started to engage with comparable companies at first, like peers or like suppliers. And gradually, they started to engage with startups. And now working with startups is the norm for large companies. And we know that 68% of the large companies are engaging with startups already. Big companies, they have open innovation program. They invested in accelerators, in incubators. They are sponsoring places like this one, Station F. And we know why they do that. And there's a lot of meaning. There's a lot of sense for a large company to work with startups, because startups are a way for companies to access to new technologies, to new products. It's also a way for companies to access to a new market, because very often the startups are creating a better relationship with customers than what large companies are doing. Large companies are working with startups, of course, also to change their DNA, to change the corporate culture, to shift it slightly. And it's also a way for big companies to invest on talent management, to make sure that they can attract the best talent. So we understand now why large companies are going and are engaging with startups. But the interesting thing is, it has not always been the case. When you think 7, 8, 9 years ago, before the age of unicorn, startup was still a very exotic word. And I remember talking with some of my clients, and I was telling them, why don't you go and work with startups? And they were telling me, Julien, we are a 25 billion euro company, right? And those guys in startup, they work in garage, and they wear blue jeans. There's no way we can work with them. So there's been a shift of mindset. And so the big question I want to ask you is it possible that working with social entrepreneurs will be just as obvious and necessary in 5 years from now than it is today to work with startup? Will we see this kind of shift of mindset in the coming years? And this is basically the bet we are doing. We believe that social entrepreneur is basically the new startup. We believe it's going to be the norm to engage with social entrepreneur when you are a big company. And when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense, because all the advantages we saw of engaging with startup make a lot of sense when you engage with social entrepreneur as well. If I am a large company, it makes a lot of sense that I go and work with a social entrepreneur. Because this social entrepreneur can bring me new things, can bring me new business model. In fact, when you look at the business models that are emerging right now in the big corporate world, many of them are being born from the social entrepreneurship world. We're talking about circular economy, we're talking about crowdfunding. This is coming from the social entrepreneurship world. Same thing with access to new market and new channels. If I'm a large company, I can work with social entrepreneur to get access to people, to market, to channels that I don't usually work with. Same thing with the change to DNA. If I'm a large company, I can work with social entrepreneur to help my corporate culture shift and being a little bit more open, a little bit more caring. And this is a positive impact of working with social entrepreneurs. And of course, same thing on talent management. So this is a big assumption we made. And to make sure that we were not wrong, well, we did it. We created basically a social entrepreneurship program. And we started from the open innovation program that we have at Accenture. We engage already with 200,000 startups all over the world. And we spinned a little bit this program to make sure that we will adapt it to social entrepreneur. And basically, we created what we call the social open innovation program, where we engage with social entrepreneurs to co-design offers that are win-win-win. It's a win for social entrepreneurs, because by working with social entrepreneurs, we help them scale their activity. And by scaling their activity, they scale their impact. It's a win for our clients, because we help them address new pain points, new needs in an innovative manner. And we believe it's a win for Accenture as well, also because it's a way for us to create new business that what we believe makes a lot of difference. The important thing to understand is it's not a business of intermediation. We are not putting people in touch. We're not putting social entrepreneurs in touch with big companies. What we're doing is we are working with social entrepreneurs to co-define offers that we are bringing to our clients. So let me give you a few examples, and I'll be super brief. One example is the work we did with Mosaic RH and the Armée de Terre, the French army. The French, so Mosaic RH, you all know them. They are very skilled at detecting talents, detecting skills in the diversity, people from the diversity. And Armée de Terre, they have a challenge. They are recruiting 15,000 people every year, and they have about 120,000 applications. So it's already a good performance, sorting out 15,000 people from 120,000, but they wanted to push it a little bit further. And here's the deal. A big chunk of the people applying to the French army are people from a diversity background. So we at Accenture, we can optimize any kind of process. Recruitment process, we know how to do it. But if we want to make it super relevant, we need to work with people who know this kind of people coming from the diversity. And this is why we went with Mosaic RH. They brought their knowledge and expertise in people from diversity. We brought Accenture our knowledge, expertise in redesigning recruitment process. And together, we delivered this mission at Armée de Terre, and we made it super efficient and super relevant by combining our strengths. This is one example. Another example is the work we do with Voisin Malin. Voisin Malin, they have an excellent knowledge of people living in the suburbs. Those people in the suburbs, most of the time, they have a variety of needs that are not well addressed as of today. They don't find the right products or the right solutions, services to address those needs. And most of the time, when you don't have this kind of products, it's just because people don't know those needs and this background well enough to defend the relevant offers. So what we're doing with Voisin Malin is basically we try to detect the needs, the specific needs from the people in the suburbs, and then we work backward with our traditional clients, the insurers, the energy providers, to define offers that are very relevant to those people. A last example I'd like to give is the work we do with Simplon. Simplon, what they're doing is basically they are skilling people that don't have necessarily an IT background, and they are skilling them up to become very skilled in IT. And the way we engage with Simplon at Accenture is basically twofold. One way is by helping our clients, big corporate clients who have massive needs in upskilling and reskilling. We work with Simplon together with Accenture to make sure that we upskill and reskill those people. And this is a kind of example that we are, the work we are doing with this kind of social entrepreneurs, so with Simplon. So these were three very concrete examples of the work we're doing with social entrepreneurs. Just to conclude, I would say that this is the beginning of the journey. This is a bet we are doing. We already have a dozen of social entrepreneurs with us. But what if we bring it to 20 or to 50 social entrepreneurs tomorrow? We already won about 10 deals last year on this model. But what if we really scale it up massively and this become a key part of the business we're doing? This is the bet, and this is the hope we have for the years to come.
Thank you so much.